This first article comes from Reclaim the Net. DHS sought to assign social credit style risk scores to social media users in a sharp spotlight on the interplay between national security and individual privacy. Newly disclosed documents have unveiled that the Department of Homeland Security entered into a contract with the University of Alabama at Birmingham. Don't you love how all of these don't you love how all of these like government and they're in bed with all the mega corporations and all the universities, and we're wondering why like we're getting queered out from the universities and critical race theory and all this stuff. And it's all one big gigantic swampy cesspool.
Well, the universities take handouts from the government, so
Yeah, and all the deep staters, they draw all of their wunderkinds usually from the university. So this was in 2018 to develop a project dubbed Night Fury, designed to analyze and assign risk scores to social media accounts. And I want to point out that this was in 2018. The information deep state, or whatever you want to call it, right? That beat goes on. And it's not red or blue or green. It's definitely red. It's communist. And they're a bunch of communists. Oh, the Brennan. Is that John Brennan? The Brennan Center for Justice procured these documents through a public records request, and Motherboard was the first to report on them. Project Night Fury aimed at utilizing automation. So they're going to do some kind of AI to detect and evaluate social media accounts for connections to terrorism, illegal opioid distribution, but also disinformation campaigns. Yeah. So we're going to stop the Taliban. We're going to stop opioid distribution, even though the greatest purveyors of drugs are the FBI and the CIA.
Well, and terrorism has been redefined in this modern age as
we're the fundamentalists.
Right. A lot of Christians get labeled under this new terrorism clause. So we got to be careful. The words change definition.
This is a value for value proposition, y'all. If you do appreciate the information that we provide, please go on over to TheTexasBoys.com and get yourself some honey money while it's in stock. The gallons are going fast.
It's unvaccinated and it is not pasteurized, so it has all the good stuff in it. And also we have our own coffee line, ranging from normal coffees to flavored coffees to CBD coffees and lion's mane coffee and so much more. And also our website and our business does not support any of this garbage. We renounce all of this junk. And guess what? Our company for the forever future will not go woke. So go check out TheTexasBoys.com. It's the best way to support what we do here on the farm.
Yep, that's why they assigned the word fundamentalism to the Islamicists. They created the database, the LCIATA and all that stuff. They created it, and then they assigned it the name of radical fundamentalist in Islam, right? And then now we're the radical fundamentalists because we believe that we're radical fundamentalists because we believe that a man is genetically a man and a woman is genetically a woman. And that is just a radical fundamental, you're obviously a terrorist if you believe something that's so anti-science. The DHS document stated the contractor shall develop these attributes to create a methodology for developing a ranking or risk score associated with the identified accounts.
Now I forget who was the one who prompted Homeland Security, who brought in Homeland Security. Can you just remind me on that one?
Who brought it? You mean who created Homeland Security?
Yeah, I'm talking about.
That'd be Brother Bush after 9/11.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
Brother Bush.
Okay.
It's always the Republicards that
I forgot.
ultra tyrannical.
I couldn't remember. I remember that it was kind of a newer thing, Homeland Security.
Yeah, that was Brother Bush.
I'm joking. Tongue in cheek, guys. Just joking.
You want to know where I get my sarcasm? Right here. That's why I have to interrupt her, because if I didn't interrupt her, She just would never stop talking, y'all.
Touche, touche.
So here's the FOIA doc. Project Night Fury had also planned on incorporating involvement from Customs and Border Protection.
Oh, you mean like our good friend Curtis Stone that got stopped at the border because he's got knocks on his passport?
Yeah, because he has totally bogus whatever flags or whatever. And then Immigration and Customs Enforcement, Transportation Security. I mean, how many of these clandestine agencies and this bureaucratic monster, when is someone going to shrink this ultra gigantic?
Yeah. And we saw them, I'm sorry, I had to interrupt you, but we did see them enforce the use the Transportation Security Administration against us during the lockdowns when different states, you couldn't get from state to state. A lot of people that were up in Alaska couldn't pass through to the lower 48. It was just, that went on for a long time, and the fines and everything. And
there's an inordinate amount of irony here, because there is such a thing as CBP, right? So we have this thing called the Customs and Border Protection. Then we have this thing called Immigration Customs Enforcement, right? And then we have this thing called the TSA. And then we have the U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Service. So we have all these alphabet soup, right? Meanwhile, back at the ranch, hundreds and thousands and tens of thousands of military age communists are flooding the southern border, even though that we've added multi-layers of bureaucracy that does absolutely nothing other than harassing law-abiding citizens that just want to be left alone. And this is the problem with fixing the government. Well, it needs to shrink by 95%. And who is going to do that? These retards can't even vote on term limits. And everyone, this is always my political argument. If I'm going to have a political argument with anybody, right? I say, can we all agree on this? Can we agree that the Federal Reserve is not federal, it's not reserve, it's a private banking cartel? Our country has the constitutional right to print its own currency, right? Whether it's fiat or not, that's kind of irrelevant, right? So we can all agree, let's end the Fed. I don't care if you're a blue-haired liberal and you think you're a dude when you were born a woman, or you're, Trump 2024, right? We can all agree with end the Fed, and we can all agree with, well, I know libs, when you worship the state, you want it to be as absolutely gigantic as possible when it is so eloquently fixes every problem there is. Experts has warned DHS about the inherent difficulties and biases involved in automated judgment for these matters. It's kind of like the AI that they use when they tag somebody with a drone, and then the drone kills people, and then they're like, oh, well, we didn't technically, we didn't kill anybody. The drone did, but notably, DHS terminated Project Night Fury in 2019. And obviously when they did that, it stopped. They don't do it anymore. We know that when they say they stopped doing things like MK Ultra and Project Mockingbird and all these other things, we know that obviously if they say they stopped, they stopped.
I think you skipped. Experts have warned DHS that the inherent difficulties and biases involved in automated judgment for these matters, citing the characteristics like being pro-terrorist have no concrete definition, which is what we were just talking about.
Yeah, like total vagueness and the changing of using vague terminology that has no real definition, much like YouTube's terms and conditions of service.
Well,
like
just
that.
like, our local police department, when you call down to the local police department in our little tiny town, I don't know how many years ago that even was, probably going back like 2 or 3 years. They say on their recording, their number one mission is to fight terrorism.
That was in 2018. And
I'm like, what? Like,
Yeah.
we got more cows than people here. Where do you see terrorism, and how did that become our little town's #1 duty?
That's unbelievable, but it's because they got some funding for that. And
Mhm.
if they added it to their phone service, I guess. So don't worry, y'all. DHS has terminated Project Night Fury. However, it
Mhm.
underscores the agency's continued interest in social media as a resource for analysis. This
Of course.
comes in the wake of earlier reports of CBP utilizing an AI-powered tool, BabelX, for analyzing travelers' social media at U.S. borders. So they want to analyze legally people that legally travel across U.S. borders. Meanwhile, they allow the insurgents of illegals to flood. There's some insane amount of irony here. While Night Fury's focus was initially on counterterrorism, illegal opioid supply chain, transnational crime, and understanding, characterizing, and identifying the spread of disinformation by foreign entities. Russia. The documents indicate that UAB's work was intended to scale to other DHS domains and build next generation capabilities. So there you go. They're always
Don't
wanting to
worry.
scale.
That's all gone now.
Doesn't exist.
They terminated that. They gave it a new name.
Yeah, they changed the acronym. They assigned it to a different agency. They probably created a whole new agency and put it over there. So that was the first article. I thought that was very interesting in light of the current border crisis that we're currently facing. Do I have any solutions for DHS?
For our, I'm just saying, for online, we see that the social media is a grab, right? They're just grabbing all of our information. They're grabbing all of your networks. They're grabbing all of your relationships. They're grabbing everybody, all of your circles, all your information. And there's not a whole lot, I guess, that we could really do about it. I mean, if you withdraw from all social media, that might be a step. But is there anything else? I think that, I'm just saying little steps.
I keep praying for an EMP.
Pray for an EMP.
That's just my optimism.
I know a friend of mine, she uses fake names when she goes onto social media, and she only uses it for specific things. Like, they were moving to another state, so she went on and used her fake name on her fake book account, and just to kind of get some information about that area that they were moving to or whatever, and then that's it. She doesn't ever her husband worked in a field that she didn't want their information on social media anyway, because they would be vulnerable to criminals. So I'm just thinking, is that something? I know it's a Band-Aid on.
Well, I mean, there's lots of really cool stuff that's out, like IPFS, like Bastion. There's lots of these like Noster, like
what are they?
These are like different open source ways to communicate and types of social media.
Telegram. I know Telegram.
Yeah, Telegram. And these are the challenges, right? Because we actually got this comment a couple times. Like, well, why are you on YouTube? Isn't YouTube woke? Now, we've had this conversation a trillion times, but the reason
for the money, y'all.
It's for the money. It was hilarious. There was some lady, right, and she was like saying, YouTube. She literally said, YouTube says that you're making thousands of dollars.
YouTube is lying.
And I'm like, well, the next time you talk to YouTube, you tell them they're in arrears because they've been holding my money back. And I said,
begrudge to pay us hardly anything.
Yeah, and I said, and if you go on Social Blade, you can see within a relatively realistic amount what we're making. It says it on Social Blade, right?
Is it accurate?
It's relatively accurate right now. It is,
Okay.
And so, yeah, that's the reason why we have our own website and we have our own stuff and we provide value, because there's no money in YouTube,
Right.
right? And we're trying to develop a business, develop a brand, and this is a family venture, and we're using this to continue to expand our operation. Now we got, you know, some beef stuff going on, and we
Oh,
got bees, and
it's a good break
good break for a plug.
for a plug. Yeah, let's plug it.
Go ahead, mother.
So if you haven't been over to TheTexasBoys.com, it's our little farm shop, and that is the meat and potatoes of our home-based business here. It is not YouTube or any other social media thing that pays the bills or keeps our older teen boys working full-time here on the ranch. It is all of the goods and services and things that they provide and do that is what keeps them busy and hard at work. And one thing that we've been working towards, the boys have been working towards for the past several years, is building up a grass fed meat business. And we're finally to that point this year. We kind of did a little bit last year, just very, very small scale. But this year we're revving it up just a little bit and just seeing what the need will be. And it's going to be available for our local people that can drive. I mean, even if you're a couple hours away, you can still drive and meet up with us. So it's going to be basically a couple cows and a couple pigs a month. If the need is more, we have resources.
Yeah, we'll figure out how to facilitate that.
Up it and grow with it. But we're excited about it this year. So go check it out over at TheTexasBoys.com. And if you're not ready to fill up your freezer yet, you can go buy some coffee or some honey or anything else. There's all kinds of stuff, candles, there's all kinds of things.
And if you're looking for shipped beef, our friends at Mercy Meadows Ranch, they ship. So
I think they're sold out right now.
They're sold out right now,
but we can link it for you.
Yeah.
And they do ship it. We're not there yet. We're not at that point.